All right. So are there any other interesting changes that employers need to know about in 2024?
Mm-hmm. There actually are a couple of really interesting ones.
Oh, great.
I picked out a couple. Not sure that they both will impact us, but they certainly might. There's a new federal law that went into effect, or 6/22 of 23, which is called the Pregnancy Workers Act. And it just gives pregnant workers a little bit more rights. And it covers employers with 15 or more employees. It gives them more, it affects their reasonable accommodation and also treats their pregnancy as a disability, which it should. Final regulations have not been released yet. We expect to get those before the end of the year. So more info to follow.
Got it. Well, thank you. I mean, I, as an employer, might like to have another child sometime next year. How does that affect me? So I don't take 3 weeks of maternity leave like I did last year? I could take a little bit more, or?
Well, based on the company size, you would be eligible to take more, but this is for employers that are much smaller that haven't had that same rights for their employees. So that's why the change.
Got it. Makes sense.
Yeah.
What else?
Well, an interesting one for those who care, beginning January 1st, 2024, employers will legally be prohibited from discriminating against employees who are smoking pot, but it's actually not about just smoking pot. It's making sure that the employee does not come to work under the influence. That's really the key thing. Now there's a new way of testing whether or not there are non-psychoactive cannabis metabolites in the employee's system at the time they're being tested. So for employers who do, random is not legal, but if you do for cause or reasonable suspicion, or someone comes to work, they're acting high, they're eating a lot of munchies, you would maybe want to test them, because again, you're not allowed to come to work under the influence and have it in your system at the time of work. People can smoke pot on their own time, but it's coming into work being under that influence. And so the new thing is whether they have that non-psychoactive cannabis metabolite in their hair, their blood, bodily fluids, and they can now test for that. And that will go into effect January of 2024. So that's going to be really interesting for employers to be trying to maneuver that. We just recommend that you make sure that your policies are up to date, that you make sure that you indicate that. And so we want to make sure that no employee feels they're being discriminated against, that they understand that their employer knows what the laws are.
Well, I mean, it seems to me you can't come to work drunk or high or on any type of a substance. Mm-hmm. What's changed? Why is this just a new rule that you have a test kit in your drawer and somebody comes in and you test them, or?
Well, it's a new law that's going to protect people who feel like they're being discriminated against because their employer may know that they smoke pot on their own time. So it's very easy for an employer to say, let's test you. I think you're under the influence. When now they're going to be able to look at whether or not it's actually having a level of impairment. So I think it's not just in your system, but is it impairing your ability to do your job?
Got it. That makes sense. Thank you for the information.
You're welcome.
Okay, is there anything else you would like to add?
Well, I would like to say that if there are any employers out there who do have difficulty trying to maneuver what's going on, what new laws they need to worry about, I would hope they would reach out to us. The HR team love to spread the HR word, and it's hard to keep up on everything that's changing in the HR world. So please reach out. We'll be glad to help you.
Well, thank you so much for this awesome information. It helps protect us as employers, keeping us safe. If anybody would like to get some assistance from our human resources team, you can contact optimaoffice.com, and Jillian Dimmitt or Jennifer Saunders would be happy to assist you. Our phone number, if you would like to call us, is 858-283-1234.